Grace Kirk. She's built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. She leads almost 40 staff across 3 completely different industries, and she did it all while raising 2 babies under the age of 2.
There's so many times we've failed in business, really. I remember going to my accountant when I was probably in my early 20s, and he was like giving me options of bankruptcy. Like he was like, oh, you've got money owing here, and did like 3 years of tax returns in one day. I was partying a lot, so skinny and unhealthy. When you treat your body, when you talk to yourself poorly, when you're engaging in relationships that aren't nurturing you and making you sad, I think it really obviously impacts your overall mental health. But then from that, it flows on into your career, your finances, how you operate and how you talk to people. Your net worth is linked to your self-worth, and it goes as far as like how much you're willing to charge people or how much love and effort you put into the service you're giving people.
This podcast is being recorded on Gubbi Gubbi land. We pay our respects to the traditional custodians of this land, our country, and elders past and present. I am Cait Muir, and welcome to Tell Me About It podcast. Today, I have the incredible Grace Kirk here, and I'm so excited. We've been talking about this for so long, and we finally made it happen.
Yes, thank you for having me.
That's okay. Grace and I, there's no official big meeting story or anything, but I think just grew up knowing each other, being in the same town, being hairdressers, and your beautiful mama was my trade school teacher.
She was.
Like every other hairdresser in Geelong at the time.
Exactly. She was my hardest teacher.
I believe that. Yeah. You know what? Helen's got no chill. We love it. Look, and from the, obviously I've followed you for such a long time anyway, but there's so much more to Grace that so many people don't know. So I just knew that I had to bring her on here and have a chat to her. So Gracie has built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses across completely different industries. She's a mum of 2 beautiful girls. She runs her businesses alongside her husband, and she's now stepped into the coaching world to help other people build work lives that actually feel good. She's the real deal. And I think watching you get into this coaching world has just been like such a beautiful thing as well.
Yeah, thank you. I kind of feel like everything you build up towards leads you to, you know, where you need to be. So I'm feeling really good in this space at the moment.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are always like, oh my God, but don't you get like upset or threatened or anything? I'm like, no, there's plenty of room at the top for all of us. And I'm like, you just bring such a different edge, and I'm just really excited to really get into all of it. So she will tell us a little bit about how she went from a teenager sweeping hair in a Geelong salon to running almost 40 staff across 3 companies, why she believes your net worth is directly linked to your self-worth, what it really looks like juggling businesses and motherhood. And I like to highlight businesses because there's quite a few going on in there. And I guess some of the more like unconventional ways that you make your biggest business decisions, like gut instinct, intuition, a little bit of woo-woo. Mm-hmm. I'm totally here for it.
Yeah. I'm sure you're a bit the same sometimes.
Oh my God. Sometimes you've just got to listen to your body and listen to everything else and not listen to your head. Hey.
Absolutely.
I think it's something that women do well anyway. I think we're more intuitive, and I think we're more heart-led, and I think you know, I don't know, I guess we can be a little bit more decisive and stuff too, but you just got to go with what feels right.
Absolutely. And like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing and feeling good and excited about what you're doing, you're not going to have a very fun week or life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also think you're not fucking rooted to the ground. Just move.
Fully. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So Grace Kirk, if you don't know her, is the founder of Style and Grace Hair, co-founder of Candace Grace Hair Extensions, co-founder of Science Traffic Management, and the woman behind Grace Kirk Coaching. That's a mouthful.
It is actually.
Founders and entrepreneurs build their brands, create incredible customer experiences, and prioritize their health and sanity while doing it all. I also want to highlight that you've kind of stepped into a bit of a new world this year, which is integrative nutrition health coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that, because that's kind of a really cool edge to bring to business people, because, you know, everything else goes by the wayside when you own a business.
Fully, yeah. So probably around 7 or 8 years ago, I read this book called Mastering Your Mean Girl. It's by a lady called Melissa Ambrosini. Have you read it?
No,
It's
I'm gonna do that.
really good. So essentially, your mean girl is your ego or your voice in your head that is self-critical or tells you that you can't do this or can't do that. Anyway, I read this book, and the author was Melissa Ambrosini, and she studied through IIN and did this health coaching course. And ever since then, I've really, really wanted to do it. And she's now a business coach and works with business women and whatnot. But yeah, I wanted to do this course in particular because it's really heavily based around your career, your finances, your relationships, and your health as a whole. They say, like, everyone, like, if you ask one person what healthy is, they might say it's being fit. And then another person might say health means being happy. So it really brings that whole holistic outlook into how you coach and how you look at your life and things like that. So I was just like so engaged and like obsessed with every single module in that course. And I just loved how much it had such a big, like, obviously business is my jam. It's my thing. I am addicted to starting businesses, as you can tell.
Sweet, I promise.
I actually said to a client the other day, I was like, I think the reason I did this was because I'm so obsessed with starting businesses. Instead of me starting more, I can help people start theirs. So I'm getting my sticks. Yeah, exactly. But
I don't think people really understand it. It's like you literally see potential in everything. You're like, I could start a business with this.
I know. Every single day I'm like, they need to start doing this for this. Or I think the other day I said, someone needs to start selling marketplace items for you because dealing with all those messages is so frustrating. And yeah, anyway, I could go on and on.
Also, please.
Yeah, but yeah, the health coaching course was awesome. It was really good and something I wanted to do for a long time. And obviously, timing's everything. So I probably wasn't ready to step into this field 7 years ago, but now I definitely feel like I am ready and like, yeah, it was a good next chapter for me.
I think it's like, yeah, you've always just got to go where the universe is pushing you to go as well. And I think you can't do something like there's other things that I want to study, but my brain's just not there yet. I'm just like, nah, I'm going to commit to it. Like it's got to be, you've got to wake up and you've got to feel ready and you've got to like be ready to do it. It's the same as coming on board as a coaching client. We talk to people, I'm sure you do as well, where you talk to people for ages and they just don't pull the trigger. But when they do, they go balls to the wall and it's great.
Oh, 100%. And I think as well, you've got to build that confidence within yourself to go, it's like almost imposter syndrome sometimes, but just got to get to that point where you're like, hey, you know what? I have learned a lot and I've got a lot to give. And, you know, you want to see people succeed in the way that you have. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. I hope that all of my clients and even the people that I've sold businesses to, like, I'm just like, I just want all of them to just take it and run with it and do better than I ever could with it. You know, like, I just want to see them go and like flourish and fly and just, you know, make me look good, I guess, as a coach.
Yeah. And you have such good, like, I hope that one day I'm getting the reviews like you do because it's just awesome.
You will. You've got so much to offer. Well, on that anyway, I guess you're like, the contrast of you is real. If anyone's actually watching this on video mode, Grace is like a total glamazon and she runs a traffic management company with 11 trucks on the road, I believe. But she's also done Cait Blanchett's hair at her actual house. And I think, yeah, like we said, the weirdest thing about you is you'd make so many of your business decisions not on numbers, but like on gut instinct and intuition. Like, how do we unpack you as a human? Because it's great.
Fully. And can I tell you, like, money, like, has always been an ick to me. And you probably hear this a lot in coaching. It's like, don't get me wrong, I love making money and things like that. But focusing on numbers and figures and all that has never been like, even for example in our hairdressing salons, like we are all so customer focused that we're like, how do we make their experience so good? Like even with Candace and I as business partners, it's never been like, I'm owed more money in this way or blah blah blah. Like, it's never come back to money. So I think in a way it is so essential to a business, and it's definitely something I've learned to focus on more because it's so important. But every single kind of business decision has been led from one, wanting to bring amazing service to whatever niche we're kind of in, but also from wanting to create a really like happy team environment and stuff like that. And I think that's what's led me into that kind of coaching as well, more so than focusing on business. Because I think from those good values and that good energy, money flows and it creates sustainability as well.
Yeah, I think something I always liked, and this was when I had my salon at the same time as you, was we obviously did like the creative cuts, the creative color, which you're like, ew, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And you did hair extensions and the brides, and I was like, ew, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I knew that we could send our clients to, they'd get a phenomenal experience. And I think you had the same thing with us if you had someone that wanted something crazy, like go there and it's going to be the same thing. You know?
Yeah. And I just love how we're still friends now, but like, all of these friendships that we've formed in our area, like back when we were apprentices, you'd like
Our bosses hated each other.
they hated each other. And if you went and worked at another salon, like there would be like a war. Whereas now, I guess if I get an application of a team member from another salon, I'll reach out and have a chat to their employer. So it's not like we're not creating any bad energy with each other, and it's like we've got this like bond that's so cool. So
I think it's so funny that, isn't it? Because I think we worked for frenemies because we both worked for really big salons. There was like 3 or 4 really big salons in our town. I was at one and you were at another one, and they all just were they were frenemies.
Fully. I know.
It's kind of, I think that's something that maybe the younger generation, like definitely us and the people coming after us, hopefully will continue to do, that it's like community and collaboration over competition, right?
100%. And like there's plenty of people out there for everyone. And like every individual, whether you're a salon owner, a coach, a different traffic management company, everyone has something different to offer. Like no one can replicate an individual business. So everyone just needs to like, support each other. And the thing is when you do collaborate with each other and you work together, you learn so much. Like I know when we started the traffic business, I had no idea about traffic. I'm still learning.
I can't imagine it, Grace. You look so well versed.
I literally called our direct competitor in Geelong and I was like, hey, would you be open to kind of letting me know what you charge? Would you be open to sharing with me what computer programs you use? Like, and when I did that put us like years of research ahead, because you just reach out, rather than kind of holding yourself back thinking, I have to know everything, I'm going to figure it out myself. Like if you just ask people with experience, people love helping each other.
I also feel like there was a group of salons when I had mine. Obviously, I don't anymore, but there was also a group of us that all charged pretty much the same thing as well.
Yeah.
And it kind of made it really good because it's like this is actually lifting everybody up rather than people being just undercutting and price competitive or whatever. It's like, there's 4 or 5 salons at the top, all in different areas of Geelong. And it was like we all kind of raised the bar a little bit. And I felt like that was a good thing too,
Definitely. I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's also, and I know you agree with this too, I think there's also like a assumption that happens when you charge better that the service is better.
Yeah.
And you get those quality clients too, opposed to always being like the cheap one or having to do prices or discounts or those things.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, and it's also a self-worth again, like how I mentioned self-worth connected to your net worth. Like when you honor yourself and your experience and the quality of your work, which is really hard for some people to do. And it's not actually them not knowing they lack the talent or lack the knowledge or anything like that. It's honestly connected to the way they look at themselves as a human being. So I think like when you charge more and from charging more sometimes brings you more confidence as well, because you're like, oh, they're not even like querying that price. So it's quite an interesting like exchange, isn't it?
I know that you also, and I've seen you speak about this on your reels and stuff. You're a bit of a content queen and I love it. But you also speak about like how you put yourself together and how you carry yourself actually does like affect who you are on the 100%. Inside as well. And I'm a big believer in that, like look good, feel good.
100%. Like I honestly remember when I was an apprentice at the first salon I worked in, we used to look like shit. Like I was actually saying to one of the other apprentices recently, one day on grand final day, we went to work dressed up in like white jumpsuits painted with blue stripes across them. And I was like, if my staff did that, I would die. Like, we actually looked like we were going to a dress up party. Anyway, that aside, we just used to dress really badly.
That's funny because we had to have like a full face of makeup. They wanted us to wear like pencil. It was like corporate casual, you know. And I was like, I'm fucking uncomfortable for 12 hours on my feet.
I know, but I think like when there's a method to it, because like the way you put yourself together, and even like as far as like hygiene, like having a shower, keeping your hair washed, doesn't have to be a full face of makeup. But we said to the girls, have your skincare done, like just look clean.
Yeah.
And I always think like, you know, when you go into a shop or you're at a hair salon, for example, and you've never been there before and you see someone like really cool, like they're dressed well and not in a way that's like cool, like on trend, but just they're rocking their outfit and they're feeling amazing. You're like, I want that person to do my hair. Like she looks fun. She knows what she's doing. You know what I mean?
100%. I know it's kind of crazy now. Like even I just feel like the customer experience is lacking in so many places. And I don't know whether that's because we're so much more online now or whatever, but
100%.
same thing as like if I'm walking into a shop where I'm going to spend like $300, $400, $500 on an item of clothing, can you like be nice to me and help me? Like, you know, like act like you want to be there and like help me because I'll probably buy it.
100%. And even just in a way of like being helpful but not making it about that. Like you can feel sometimes when it's like sale driven or anything like that and you're like, where's that self-awareness gone where you're like, I'm going to be there for you but also let you make your own like, I don't know. Yeah. It's quite interesting, but I definitely do think it comes down to like too much interaction via email, via text. Like even when you think about Tinder and stuff, like people don't even date properly anymore. You're probably like having these epic conversations. Yeah.
I'm glad I never have to experience that again in my whole life.
I know. Well, you've definitely found a goodie. You guys look so happy.
I know. Same for you and Ben. You guys have been together since the dawn of time now, you know?
Yeah, we have. We've lived 1,000 lives together, that's for sure.
That's kind of nice though.
That's right. Yeah.
I think like a lot of people who listen to my pod obviously are either in two places. Either they're running a business or they're climbing in their career and look successful on paper, but behind the scenes they're absolutely drowning. I know that you speak about this very openly and I do too. You have not always been this really successful business person. There was our party girl era, which I think we went through together. Debt was piling up. Systems were non-existent. You're fucking exhausted. You just kind of winged it. Like what take me back there and like what changed for you?
I feel like, there's so many times we've failed in business, really. But like, yeah, I remember going to my accountant when I was probably in my early 20s and he was like giving me options of like going like into liquidate or like bankruptcy. Like he was like, oh, you've got money owing here, there. You've got like, I think I went in and did like 3 years of tax returns in one day or something. Like I had no idea what I was doing because like when I started working for myself, I had no intention of opening a salon or having staff or running a business. So I think when you like what I'm kind of teaching at the moment is you need to prepare and you need systems and you need to have a vision and goals of what you want and how you're going to get there. But when I was 24 years old and I was like, hold on, I've got 5 staff now. And I was like, I don't know what BAS is. Like, I had no idea that you had to put money aside or.
No.
So, yeah, there was really tough times there. But I think, I do think when people go into business generally, it's a dream of theirs or they want to do it or they've got an idea. But also there's a lot to learn that you don't know if you don't know. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's like, I really do think that going into business at such a young age, I know for me and for you was like, I'm so glad I learnt those lessons when I was in my early 20s because going through that now would be a whole new hell. Like when you go through when you're 24, you can just restart again and it's fine. And you've got no commitments and like life's good and whatever. I mean, I remember there was a time there where my rent was due the next day, which was like $2,000, I think back then, which is like astronomically cheap for rent. And I was like, I had about $800, so I went out.
Yeah.
I was like, can't afford
Tomorrow's problem. That was definitely my vibe as well.
Honestly, and like I was the same thing that I was just like I was a sole trader for way too long. I had a really terrible accountant. I had a really terrible bookkeeper at the time who wasn't doing her job, and it just kind of all amalgamates into this giant thing. And then all of a sudden you're like, fuck. I know the value of a house. I have nothing to go for.
Oh my God, literally. And like even I know when I put on, so Candace started working for me before we opened the Bow and Head Salon. And when I was working, I was like going, all right, I'll give you this much a week and then pay you this much in cash. And I was just giving her all my cash at the end of the week. And I was like, there was just so many things that you just don't know about business that you look back and I was like, what a dickhead. Like, honestly.
It's so funny. One thing I have to say, I think it might have been you or Candace that was doing my hair extensions once. And I was considering at that stage before I'd sold bringing on a business partner, and I actually spoke to you guys. I was like, can you talk me through this? Because I see it all. And like, I had my business coaching business at the time, but I was like, I see it all the time. Business partnerships fail, fuck up. People end up hating each other. My husband's been through it. He's had 2 business partners, you know, like, and it just was structured so wrong, but you structured it so right. Like you literally sat down and had all the really hard conversations and literally mapped out like all the what ifs.
We did. I will say business partnership is really hard. Like Candace and I have hit the absolute jackpot with each other. And I think in saying that, it all comes down to us. Our relationship with each other is the biggest priority. And at the end of the day, if there was a business decision where we butted heads and our friendship is always the priority, if that makes sense. We've never
absolutely,
and we're both in on that kind of thing. And I don't think you can't teach that, you can't learn that. That's just like in your friendship or it's not. But we did at the start, before we opened the Bow and Head Salon, we sat down with a lawyer and we actually mapped out every single scenario that could go wrong and what would happen from that. And then even down to like how much we would sell the business to the other partner for the next like 5 years and how that would change. So I think that was a really good list.
It was like, what if one of us dies? Like, who gets the rest of the business? Does it go to our spouse or does it go to the other person? Like everything. But I was like, it's so important. We've just done all of our wills and stuff like that. And it's kind of a similar conversation, but I just loved that you said that. And you were so open about sharing that with me too. I'm like, I'm really scared. What if blah, blah, blah. And it didn't end up going that way anyway. But I just thought, you know, you were talking so much about lack of structure, and fuck, I've had no structure whatsoever for about the first 5 years of business, but that was like something you just nailed.
Oh, for sure. Like, and I don't know, like as far as business partnerships go, I don't know if I think they work, but you really can't go into it with someone you're really overly emotionally attached to, or else like it's going to be a matter of one of you bending to like the other one's happiness, if that makes sense, or else you just butt heads. But even with Ben, for example, like my husband's my business partner and it's been like, this is the first time he's owned a company and I've had to learn to really stand back and let him, like sometimes I hear myself being like the boss, like at work, where I'm like, he'll go for a toolbox meeting and I'm like, make sure you deliver it like with kindness or blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, and then I'm like, do you know what? He has to stand back and learn like how to run his own business too. So it's quite interesting partnerships when you're both like emotionally and financially invested. Yeah.
100%. I know that there's a podcast I listened to where they're like, we had to stop recording our podcast for like 3 months and go to therapy because like we basically had to go to like marriage counseling to like sort out our relationship. And I was like, whoa. I was like, it makes so much sense though.
Well, do you know what? I would actually so be down with doing like ongoing couples therapy, like through the good and the bad, because I'm like, I just feel like it would be so good to have like, you know, and same with friendship. Like I see a kinesiologist every 4 weeks and that's like my form of therapy where I, you know, but I'm like in any relationship and business partnership, like it's so good to have a, like a middle person in there just to kind of talk things out.
Well, I think that's something that Cam and I spoke about when we first got together. Obviously, we've both had a marriage previously with people who just did not communicate whatsoever. And so that was one of our values too, that it's like, if it ever gets to that point that we need that, then we should do it. Or if we ever feel like we're not communicating, then like go and do it. I don't think there's any shame in that. I speak about it so much. I have an amazing therapist that I see once a month. And yeah, she's awesome. And I just think it's just so good to be able to go and vent to someone who's neutral.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And same with kinesiology. I do that about once or twice a year as well.
Yeah.
Cry and snot and all. Oh yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great. But you always grew up wanting to be a hairdresser, which I don't think is a lot of people. I think a lot of people like me and many others fall into this. Mum was a hairdresser.
Yeah.
You were a hairdresser?
Yeah. So I grew up and I always like knew I wanted to be a hairdresser. Mum always owned Salon. So I'd be like running around I reckon when I was like 2, she used to sit me down and put rollers in my hair and put me under the dryer. So I thought I was a client. But yeah, I always wanted to be a hairdresser and she just did not want to be one because back when they were like back in the old hairdressing era, it wasn't a glamorous job, they used to like do the same thing all day, every day, really bad pay, you're slogging your ass off. I think today a lot of our staff have it pretty well, as we know, which is good. But yeah, Mum really didn't want me to be a hairdresser, but then I eventually nagged until she actually said, she goes, I don't want to put you on as my apprentice. I want you to go out and work for another salon, which I did. And then, yeah, I was so happy. By the time I was 18, I was qualified and had making my own money, probably blowing it every weekend on alcohol. But it was good.
Crazy. It's funny that my mum was a hairdresser too and much had the same beliefs as well. But I think there's like, I don't know what happened because in like the 50s, 60s and whatever, hairdressers were like seen as like really like fashion forward people and really cool people. Then it was like almost like the 80s, 90s, 2000s, things like declined a little bit or something. Yeah. And then it's kind of come full circle again where it's actually quite a good job. I don't know. It's opened every door for me. I'm so grateful for this.
Yeah, I feel like as well, I don't know if you felt like this, but when I was an apprentice hairdressing, it was almost like you weren't very smart. Like anyone who went to do hairdressing, you were like a dropout or it was like a bit, I shouldn't say trashy, but it felt that way. Yeah.
It was. I think there's still stereotypes around lots of different jobs, but I feel like we're pushing back a little bit now. Like we're just like any other tradesperson, like why should we be paid less?
Yeah.
We still stay on our feet 12 hours a day. Like we still do all the same apprenticeship, all the same training. Yeah, it was, yeah. I don't know. I went through 2 phases where I was like, oh, do I tell people I'm a hairdresser? And then there was other phase where I was a business owner where I just told people I was a hairdresser because I didn't want to answer business questions or explain. And I just told them so. I was like, I'm just a hairdresser.
I totally agree with that. I actually rarely ever tell people I own a business. One, because I don't want to sound like a wanker. But like if I meet someone like normally, they're like, oh, what do you do for work? I'm like, oh, I'm a hairdresser. And they're probably like, oh, that's, I don't know.
I feel like I get that now when people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I'm a business coach. And they're like, oh. It's not a multi-million-dollar coaching company, guys.
Exactly.
Not one of those people out here selling fucking MLM something.
I know. Oh, totally.
I think there's still so many stereotypes that plague so many industries and, but I think that, I don't know, I think that at the moment, the good ones are banding together and it's like rising up,
Absolutely. Yeah. And in hairdressing now, like there is so many opportunities to grow and expand and, we're not just slapping on tints and doing a half head of foils all day, every day. You can do extensions, you can do like balayage, you can be a blonde specialist, you can be a barber. Like there's so many niches that you can really excel in that it has become a really cool industry, and especially with guys as well. Like it used to be where most of like our mates were gay that you worked with, and now there's like doesn't have that kind of stigma anymore where it's a really like inclusive, open industry, which is so fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's more so becoming more inclusive over time as well, which I think is fucking awesome too. And that's so true, actually. You don't think about that, like the one male hairdresser that we had at trade school and then everybody else was female and now it's all changing again. It's good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think people are also realizing how much potential there is to have the career changes, like you said, move into education or do something else.
Mm.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. But I'm sure your traffic management business also has its own set of stereotypes.
Oh my gosh. I was actually like explaining it the other day. So we had our work Christmas party for the salon at the end of December. And as you could imagine, I think there's always about 33 of us, and we're dressed to the nines, like dancing. It's like all this like women energy. And then had the traffic management breakup, and it was awesome. We're at the Belmont Hotel and we're having like a pub lunch, and I'm this like la-di-da little like dressed up
Amateur
woman, and they're like, what? They're probably like, who is this chick? And but it's so fun, but it's just a whole different energy where there's just like, you know, everyone's having a Jim Beam and like having ciggies and vapes out the front, and I'm like, oh, this is so different, but I love it at the same time because
contrast would be awesome.
Oh, it is so much fun. And you know what? The one thing that they both have in common is we have like honestly the best teams ever. Like our traffic management crews are just like, it's amazing how when you put those systems in place, like we we're talking about, the vibe and the energy you can attract that hold your business together. Like it's really cool.
Don't you also think though, like I say this to people all the time where they're like, oh, you know, I want to have 3, 4, 5 salons, whatever. I'm like, yeah, cool, you can do that. It might take you 5 to 10 years to get the first one right, but then you can have 2, 3, 4, 5 within a year. And you can just copy that. Once you've got that formula and that blueprint right, then you can just copy it over into your other thing. Like obviously there's going to be different systems. You're moving into a completely different trade, but for the most part, the customer service experience and how you manage your people and like all the things that you do is literally the same thing. I mean, I bought a second salon way too early, and that was a fuck up. And then I realized that I had no systems, and I was like, cool, this doesn't work. And then you go back and fix it all up, and then next minute you get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think like obviously no matter what kind of business you're in, the leadership determines the quality of the team, the business, the productivity, like every single bit comes from the leadership down. I know I was even on a flight the other day, and I won't say the airline, but the like hostesses was so rude. And I was like, it's because they've got shit management. Like it honestly trickles from the top offices down, and it's the same in hairdressing, it's the same in traffic. Like if you haven't got good leadership, it just doesn't work, like, because it's how you speak to your staff and whatnot.
I think it was Sir Richard Branson that said that. He's like, if I take care of my staff, they'll take care of the customers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I agree with that.
So
oh my
true.
God, I remember who it is now. That's funny.
And when you were talking about salon, like having multiple salons before, you're so right how you can just copy and paste your systems. But I think as well, having like, when you're young, you think, oh, I want to have 10 salons. I need to have this here and here and here. But when you kind of start to get those systems in place and you have a really good team, you kind of like, I would be too scared to try and open up more now to think like, why would I, like sometimes your ego is so far attached.
Partners or something. You would have to have somebody. You have to have somebody else with the golden handcuffs helping you. I think
100%.
To be able to. Like, I admire people who can scale like that, but holy shit!
Oh, absolutely. And it is. And I think when you get that big, then you realize, oh, this is a lot. Like I know, even when I took time off with the girls, when I had the pregnant, when I was pregnant with Stella and Noah, and then I came back, my business was like, when you're not there as an owner and you're not putting in your energy and your like love into that space, it really does crumble a little bit. So it's good. Like when I went back there, it obviously was like beautiful and picked right up again. But I think it would be hard to like spread yourself across a lot of places, but with the right support and management and teams. And I think that's how the really big people do it really well, is they've got that support. Yeah.
I definitely know, look, when I've sold my businesses, they haven't have the same love or passion for it that I did. And even though I wasn't on the floor of my salon for the last 3.5 years that I owned it, and I was never on the floor of my barbershop, my presence was always felt.
Yeah.
And I was always in there having meetings, and I was having reviews. My office was just around the corner. They could walk to me. They could call me anytime. I'd just drop in and buy them their energy drinks and then schmooze with the clients. Like even the clients knew that it was still my business. I think there's just something that I definitely felt it when I moved to Queensland, and didn't have my salon then, but I had my barber shop. And I definitely know that dynamic changed a lot because I wasn't as present.
Yeah.
Do I think you could live interstate and have a business?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But I think you'd have to do a fair bit of flying back and like still be communicating a lot and still be like quite hands-on with it. So I get it. I know what you mean.
Yeah, for sure.
You were the same. You were fully qualified by 18. It's kind of wild to think back on how little I was, how little you were.
Yeah.
And you left school when you were 15. And you wrote in there that you moved to like a more upmarket salon and worked there for a few years, and it was like a bit of a misalignment of values.
Yeah. So when I did my apprenticeship and saw that out, and then when I left there, I went to another salon, which was a bit more of a high-end salon, which was awesome. And that team there was really great too. But as time went on, kind of some of the team members went and opened their own salons and things like that. And then, yeah, as far as the boss goes, there was kind of a partnership involved there too. And one of the partners just had a different kind of energy. And at one point, I actually heard him speaking badly about one of the other staff members to the client. Yeah, and I said to them out the back, hey, that wasn't really cool. Like, that's one of our team members. They're having a bad time at the moment. Like, talk to us about that. Like, the clients don't need to hear. And then after that, they called me in for a team meeting to like, a one-on-one to like go over everything I needed to improve on. And I was like, do you know what? I think this is just not working out for me. So, and it was funny because from there, I didn't want to do hairdressing anymore. And I think that happens a lot in the industry where you have these bosses that turn you off hairdressing. And then it's really sad because there's these awesome hairdressers. I actually could think of like 5 off the top of my head right now that aren't hairdressing that should be, because they're so good. And the work environment's just ruined them.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely where I did my apprenticeship. They were absolute slave drivers. We worked about 52 to 54 hours a week, get paid for 38 every late night. Everyone had to stay until the end. Like, everyone stayed until the last person left. Like, it wasn't like, you keep people on, everybody else goes home.
Yes.
And honestly, like, it was that exactly where it's like, why are staff being bitchy about me to other staff? Like, come and talk to me. And it was just nothing. I was young and learning. Like, it was so toxic. I tried to resign. They wouldn't let me out of my apprenticeship. Then I resigned again finally when I qualified. And I was like, I just cannot do this anymore. And I honestly felt like going into something else. I was like, I'm in hospo. I've done hospo before. I can go back into that. And back then it was just my friends and stuff that were like, you've worked way too hard and you're way too talented. Like, stay with it. And like, I'm glad I did, but isn't it just fucking awful? It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about anyone that is not there to talk back and to have their voice heard as well?
100%. Yeah. And hairdressing industry is honestly the worst for it. I think like obviously girls, yeah. And again, I'm going to say it does come back to leadership at the end of the day. Like, I know for us in our salon, if we have a staff member at any point that is causing drama within the business, I've learned now that is like approached and dealt with immediately, because what happens then is the team isn't focusing on the clients or the hair or the salon. They're focusing on that person or whatever the drama is going on. And you're like, that's bad leadership. Like it really, and that's the thing, like when you're going through that, your boss should have had their arms around you and nurturing you. And
my boss was just joining in. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's such an important thing to know though too, is like to suck the poison out. Like, I learned to hire slowly, fire quickly. And I learned that no amount of money is worth the rest of my team's happiness.
Yeah.
It definitely happened. There was twice in my barbershop where we had really horrible people come in, and like my other barbers would be like, if you don't get rid of them, we're all quitting. And I'll be like, that's fine. Like, I have no chill about it anymore. I'm like, nah.
Yeah. I reckon it took me like a good, 6 years into my business to really learn, like, and not, you don't need to be the nice, or sometimes being the nice boss is actually doing the hard things. Like, you really need, and to protect the energy of your whole business and yourself. Like, I used to let some of my staff like walk all over me, like, and you didn't want to upset them, or you didn't want to believe that they would do that. So you're like, you know, but as soon as you start holding those boundaries and honoring and respecting your business, that's where it flourishes, and everyone else does as well. But it's pretty sad that a lot of and they still go through it. Like it's awful.
I even had that in the first business that I bought, actually, and the second one, where the old owners just didn't want to let go and just didn't want to hand it over and just didn't want to kind of let me do it. I'm like, but I own it now. And it was the same thing. I just got to the point where I'm just like, I can't be fucked having a fight. I just can't be bothered, like, so over it. And so, yeah, I get that too. It's just like, hey, conversations have to be had, and part of being a boss is definitely having to have the yucky, horrible, hideous, uncomfortable conversations, but it saves Grace, saves the rest of it.
Yeah, and I think as well it goes like when you're hiring staff as well, I think a lot of the time people just see money, like, all right, this staff can make me like X amount of dollars. But like, honestly, like one thing that I really prioritize when I'm hiring staff is good values and teamwork and things like that, because all that other stuff, it can be taught. It can be taught, but I think values and that they like sometimes can't be.
Well, I think it's like, that's something I say to all of my clients too. I'm like, find someone with a great attitude. You can train anyone to be a hairdresser, but you can't train them to have a great attitude.
100%.
Yeah. It's it's so hard.
It is.
That was definitely the case where I did my apprenticeship. They kept the people around that made them all the money, even though they were the nasty ones.
Like when we did our apprenticeship, none of us were qualified. We had one senior in the whole salon. Do you know my first day of my apprenticeship? Like, imagine like rocking up on your first day and you've never done hairdressing. I had a half head of foils booked in with me. I did someone's foils. I'm like, that would just never happen today. But at the same time, throw me in the deep end.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like shove them off the plank. They'll be fine. Off you go. Fly. So you walked away from like a business that you didn't align with their values, which is pretty powerful too, to just like go without a job, without anything, and be like, hey, nah, I've had enough.
Yeah.
And then your clients started finding you.
Yeah, so
6 months.
Yeah, so I didn't want to do hairdressing anymore. I was like you was feeling as well. You're just done with it. You don't want to be around the toxicity. And then my mum, being a hairdresser too, our house growing up, which is now Style and Grace in Geelong, the house part was rented out, and then the side salon was a salon. It looked like an 80s perm salon, like picture oval mirrors, like there was like jewels stuck to like cabinetry. It was like old school.
80s glam rock with
fully. But then my clients started contacting me being like, where can we go to do hair? And I thought, I'll just do a few of them while I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And then I just started getting busier and busier and busier, and I was like, all right. And it just kind of like evolved from there, where I eventually had to put on help, like get an apprentice and then get a staff member. And I'm like, what is going on? Now I'm an employer.
I love that so much. It's so good when it naturally happens like that too. But I think that's testament to you. Like, I speak a lot about this. I'm like, if you're not fully booked within 6 months of starting a new job or moving somewhere, there's something fundamentally wrong with what you're doing.
100%.
Your clients should want to come back to you.
Yeah, definitely. And on that as well, like I remember back then, so Instagram and Facebook had only just came out, and I
put that in the paper for myself.
Yes, I had an ad, and do you know what? My mum still has it on her fridge, and I'm like, take that down. It is so embarrassing.
My nana saved all my newspaper clippings like over my whole career and everything, and then when she passed away, sent them all, like they got all sent up to me, and I was like going through them. I was like, oh my god,
and
she like dated them, like had them in a folder. I was like, cute little type A, we love her.
Yeah, and you probably were doing like all your comps and like but yeah, I remember like with the Instagram coming out and Facebook, I started posting my availabilities, and I remember someone saying to me like, oh, that is such a good idea. And like, I honestly, like, I'm not claiming it, but I am kind of claiming it. I think in Geelong, I was like one of the first people that was like, I've got this time available tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. Do you want to book? And then from that, Like, I think going back to what you were saying before, like you need to become booked out and you need to be hungry to be booked out. And I had that. And I think that was fundamentally what kind of grew my business, because people knew I wanted to do the work. Like, I think sometimes you go and get your hair done or get a facial and you think, oh, they just want to be on their lunch break, or, you know, but like just really caring and being client focused, being like, I want to be doing your hair. This is what times I've got and let's get you in. It built it in that way.
I think there's this real delusion now, and look, probably social media has a lot to answer for here, but there's this real delusion now that you can just step into $100,000 a year job without doing any of the legwork.
100%.
If you're a freshly qualified stylist, you need to go and put your head down and your butt up and go to fucking work. Go to work.
Fully, yeah. Literally nothing. You can't do anything without effort. Like everything you need to work for.
And that's not just hairdressing, that's everything. Go to work. Also, when I was 20, I spoke about this with Cam the other week. When I was 20 and when you were 20, we would just go from nightclub to work and then back to nightclub.
100%. 100%.
Go use it while you've got it.
My staff are like, they know if they've gone out the night before, I could not care less. And they'll tell me, they'll be like, I'm so hungover today. And I'm like, I'll be like, you've done such a good job today. I know how hungover you are, but thank you. But like, you got to show up. You got to, what do you call it? Pay to play. Yeah.
Yes. I used to love the 2-3 a.m. phone calls from sometimes my bar was like, I ain't gonna make it in today. I was like, just have a shower, just come in. And they're like, I'm really not gonna be able to do it. I'm like, I'm not gonna have to go with my clients. Whatever. Like, thanks for the honesty. Anyway. And you also had a brief stint in Sydney. I remember when all this happened, you went to a beautiful Paddington salon, literally doing celebrity hair, like actual real celebs, not just like B-grade Instagram celebs.
Yeah, it was actually wild. So I actually went up to work in Sydney and I got a job at O&M, like a hair care company. Everyone would probably know it, in the head office. Because again, I was like, maybe I'll have a break from hairdressing. And I was sitting in the office and the girl I was working with was like, oh, I really want to go to this salon called Salons and like they're such good hairdressers. And I said, I'll do your hair for you. Like, and she's like, oh, no, don't worry. And I was like, I'm going to go get a job at Salons. I'm like, she thinks I can't do hair.
And that's why you left and that's why you're going into this O&M job.
I'm like, that's it. You can book in with me when you go there. No.
That is so funny. I love that. I did a couple of fashion weeks with Renya as well. But literally people like Cait, which is incredible. And you went to her house, which is insane. And then a few months in, bloody Benny breaks his ankle.
Yeah, he broke his ankle at a Bucks party, drunk. And I was like, oh my God, all my dreams are starting to come true. I actually remember going in and sitting with Renya and her manager and I was like, I have to go back home. And they were like to me, how long have you been with this guy? Like they were literally kind of like talking to me as if like maybe you should just stay.
Choose to come over the boy.
Yeah. I know. But it was a crossroads and everything happens for a reason. And I think probably the reason I went there and did all those awesome things was because when I got back, my business, like everyone had seen that on Instagram and my business really took off. And yeah, within a year or two, we renovated the whole house. So the tenant had moved out and we gutted the house and turned it into a salon and it became a proper company. Yeah.
Awesome. So Benny was still in Geelong. You were up in Sydney. You were doing long distance. What was the plan there?
So Ben actually did Ben was up there before me and we did long distance. And then and then I moved up and then he broke his ankle. So we both came home together. I know. And to be honest, at that time in our lives, like we were probably still in a bit of our hot mess era. Like, you know, just
men's.
Yeah. Like
when you broke up every other weekend and got back together the following one. Yeah, good.
Yeah. I always say to people, because we met and got together at 19 and I'm like, they're like, you've been together like 16 years. I'm like, yeah, but I probably count it from like 2016. No. We've always been bestie, like we've always been best friends though. So that's the foundation of it all, I guess.
Hey, I'm a big believer in right person, wrong timing. That's what happened to us.
100%.
I'm so glad we weren't together when I was like, 21 and he was 29, 30. I was just like, we were
Yeah.
just wrong for each other. But now this time we got it right. It was the same as you guys.
And we always said when we were younger, we were like, we should have just met when we were older. But at the same time, I don't regret anything that, like, any challenges that we've ever been through, because I think sometimes when you've been together since such a young age and everything's been sunshine and rainbows, you wonder, oh, what could this have been like if I was, single for a while or blah, blah, blah. Whereas Ben and I kind of just rode the wave of how we were feeling in the moments. And then now we've got an epic, friendship and relationship. So
yeah, I think it's so
grateful.
important to be friends with your partner.
Yeah.
So important. Like Cam and I could literally spend all day, every day together. We just like being around each other. It's so good.
It's so good. And don't get me wrong, like Ben and I have some really hard times still now, but the foundation.
Everyone does.
Yeah, but the thing that brings us back and makes us have fun is we genuinely want to hang out together and like, your best mates. Like there's no one else I'd rather like live with.
Well, it's probably similar to your business partner, really. It's like at the end of the day, our relationship's more important than anything. So everything else comes secondary. So it's fine. Like we'll work through that.
Yeah, 100%. And I listened to this other podcast the other day that was saying like whether it's a friendship, a relationship, a working relationship where you're an employer and employee, if the two of you are committed to working together and growing together, you're going to work out. If one is committed to growing and the other isn't, it's probably not going to work. And it's the same whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your employer. Like you really need to both want to grow together.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I absolutely agree with that too. So Benny breaks his ankle. You move back to Geelong. You've got Style and Grace in Geelong. That's 2015.
Yeah.
By 2017, you got a second location.
Yes. That's actually a really funny story too.
Sorry. Go on.
So when
we just walked past and go, we could open a salon here.
No, this is so random. So we had these like rental house in Ocean Grove, and we have dogs, like 2 bulldogs at the time. And they're so cute. And I used to get the carpet steam cleaned like probably every 6 weeks just because dogs. Yeah. And the carpet cleaner guy, he's like, oh, my wife owns a salon in Barwon Heads. And I said, oh, well, if she ever wants to sell it, let me know. I'd love to have a salon in Barwon Heads. And he's like, all right, I'll let you know. It probably went on like 6 months of us seeing him. And one day he goes, oh, she's ready to sell. And I was like, really? And I called up Candace. I'm like, do you want to do it? And she's like, yeah. So we bought the salon. And it was literally because of the carpet cleaner.
Oh my God. I feel like things like that are meant to happen.
Yeah.
I remember just like having a barber working full time in my business. And then one of my apprentices also wanted to be a barber rather than a hairdresser. And I was like manifesting this shop. And then next minute, like the dream shop came up in the exact spot that I wanted. It was available. They were playing ball. I was like, this is like what's meant to happen. It's what's meant to be. And you just put it out there.
Yeah.
It was meant to happen.
Yes. Well, that's it. Exactly like what you just said. It's like a sliding doors moment that you're like,
yep.
That was just weird, but so good.
It's so good. I love that it's just randomly from your carpet cleaning guy.
Steve.
Gee, thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in there as well, you and Ben obviously co-founded your traffic management company. Is that what he was doing beforehand?
No, so Ben was doing commercial windows and he was driving like up and back to Melbourne every day, like leaving at 4:30, like it was massive.
From Ocean Grove?
From Ocean Grove. So
yeah. For reference, guys, if you're not from the Geelong area, that's like an hour and a half commute each way.
And like thick traffic. So when he was coming home, and he said that it wasn't the drive that bothered him, it was like just sitting in the traffic day after day. So he really wanted to like start something else, and we had a friend that owned a tree arborist company for Asplund, and he was saying, oh, we can never get traffic controllers. And I was like, so then in the meantime my biological dad, he passed away, and he left us an inheritance, and I was like, oh, we could put it on the house, but boring. Let's start.
More of a high risk, high reward kind of house.
And I'm like, how hard could it be? Like, let's get some utes. Like, so we got 3 utes, and I was like, far out. I didn't know we needed to be accredited with Vic Roads. We needed to have millions, like I want to say like $40 million of like
Public liability.
public liability, like
Wow.
so many things to learn, like OH&S policies, HR policies. And I was like, all of a sudden, we'd just had Stella, our second baby, and we're learning this new business. But yeah, it's been a friggin' roller coaster, but it's so good. Like it's probably now 5 years on just getting traction, because obviously those foundations are starting to work. But yeah.
I love that it was a totally new industry for both of you though. And it was literally like find a market and do something to fix that market. Like that's incredible.
And do you know what the sorry to interrupt.
No, it's right, go.
The crazy thing was, so Asplund, who inspired us to like start this company because I was short on traffic, the week we opened our company, Asplund bought Go Traffic. So they bought another traffic company in Geelong as like a tax writer. So they didn't need us anymore.
And you're like, great, we're going to have work straight away. This is going to be awesome. Like, at least we kicked it off with a few clients.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Oh, well, even so, you've gone from 3 vehicles to 11 over 5 years, which is huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even starting with 3, I can imagine all the vehicles and everything would be so expensive for that type of company as well. And like all the equipment that you actually need, like it's so equipment heavy and people heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But luckily, like traffic controllers aren't hard to come by. Like it's a great industry. We get a lot of like prisoners and stuff like that, which I actually love because it's
they're hardworking.
Yeah, they're hardworking, and it's giving people another chance. Like it's really cool. It's a good industry actually. Like it's funny learning about a new award and like penalties and stuff like that. That was probably the most trickiest part. But yeah, it's cool learning a different industry and using a different kind of part of your brain as opposed to that.
Yeah, I've got a friend up here who has a tiling business who only really hires like ex-drug addicts and like ex-jail people and like things like that. And he's the same. He's like, I love them because he's like, you give them a go and they're really loyal. Yeah. And they work really hard.
Yeah.
They're very money driven. And so he's like, he loves them. And it's like, it's all he employs now. And I think it's fucking awesome. I think some people like that get such a hard rap and they're so unemployable to so many other people, but in the right job, it's perfect for them.
100%. 100%.
I love that. So you've got almost 40 staff across all 3.
Yes.
That make you feel a bit sick.
It does on Wednesdays when I do payroll. No, it is. It's good fun. And like, again, once you get really strict and have good values around who you're employing, that actually doesn't become that hard anymore. It's like when you've got good staff, it's only when situations come up where it is dramaful or it can be toxic that's when it becomes challenging, because because you're in a leadership position, you almost have to like parent them in a way. But
yeah, well, 100%. They're your babies.
Yeah, definitely.
And babies.
Yes. But yeah, that really happens now. So I think, it does sound like a lot, but yeah, and you know what? I've got a lot of help as well. Like Candace, I've got an admin assistant in Geelong, Claire, she's just awesome. And when all the teams are like, when they have your business's best interest at heart, everyone's leading it in a way, everyone's
100%. No, I would be lost without mine. I've got a full-time like client liaison assistant and she's just like an absolute godsend. She just does everything for me. She basically just like delivers my workday on a platter for me, which is amazing. And then I've got another girl who does all my payments and accounts. Yeah. And she's pretty ruthless, so I love her. Like, I'm like, with that.
I need one of those.
Oh my God, I would just be so lost without her. And they're both parents and they just work around their families and it just works really well. But yeah, I know it's funny. People see this like, view this one face of the business, or same with me, seeing me at the face, but there's definitely a lot that goes on behind the scenes.
100%. And you have to, like, as you know, delegate where you're not good at too. Like, it's important. It does take a village.
100%. So your self-worth equals your net worth. And this was like a big personal development turning point for you. Unpack that a bit because I love this.
All right. So when I was probably in my early 20s, I was partying a lot. I was so skinny and unhealthy. I reckon I lived on like skinny me tea and I don't know, McDonald's. And
Yep.
I think when you treat your body, when you talk to yourself poorly, when you're engaging in relationships that aren't nurturing you and making you quite sad, I think it really obviously impacts your overall mental health. But then from that, it flows on into your career, your finances, how you operate and how you talk to people, you know. So I think in a way, well, it is. I truly believe your net worth is linked to your self-worth, and yeah, it goes as far as like how much you're willing to charge people, like we were talking before, or how much love and effort you put into the service you're giving people. Like, I think back to then, and I'm like, I'm not proud of the hair that I used to do back then. I used to like use 30 vol on people, there'd be breakage, and I think now I'm like, everything is so, is so like.
That was the era though. I remember my boss doing a tip cap on someone and using 40 volt bleach on this like short woman's hair, and when he pulled it off at the base and all the hair snapped off. And so then he was like, oh, we'll just do it again.
Yeah. We'll just go shorter.
Literally, I remember I burnt off my best friend's crown once.
Yeah.
She was like honestly a level 7, but I was really time poor that day, so I just did like 34 and just overlapped a bit on her crown and just.
And we did it to ourselves too. Like I used to have like just fried hair.
For so long.
I know. Oh, it's so crazy. But I guess like from that age when I actually like read the book The Secret, I think I always like I had this
my clients.
It's so good. And it's just like obviously, as you know, about shifting your mindset and how much more powerful positive thoughts are than negative, but also about how you attract the frequency that you're on. And I think once I started to learn that, I was like, I am in control of what my life is going to, like what's available and what opportunities are available for me, and the way I see the world is up to me. You know. And once I really started delving into that and working on how the energy I was putting out and how I was looking after myself and talking to myself, like everything changed, like absolutely everything.
It's pretty crazy too. I think you got to do a lot of shedding in your early 20s too. Like you just got to let people go. You got to let things go. You got to stop clinging. But I think there's also a big thing about 90s babies. We're all raised that anorexia thin was the only way, and that real weighty, thinny, heroin chic thing. Like there was a stage there. I think I spoke about this in my podcast with Cam. I think I got to like 44, 45 kilos. I'm not a short girl, and I know you're not either. Like I was scrawny, like I was skeletal. It was really scary.
I was the same. I remember a photo of me at like Stereosonic or something, and I'm up in the like grandstand that was there, and I'm like hunched over, but you can see like my whole like all my bones, and I thought I was fat. Like I literally remember like putting on shorts and being like, my legs are huge. And like we were so obsessed with being like that skinny me tea era. We just used to like go to the toilet all day.
Oh my God, honestly. It's just so crazy, isn't it? Yeah, I was the same. Like I look back on photos of that now, and I'm fine with my body now. I'm very comfortable in who I am now, but I'm like 5 sizes bigger than what I was then. But back then, I was the same. I used to think I was so fat.
Holy, it's so,
I remember my collarbones were sticking out. I remember my shoulder blades sticking out. I remember I was similar. I saw a photo of myself, I think at Club Foreplay or something like that. And like my shoulder blades were sticking out, and I was like, oh.
But don't you think as well, like when you're in that mindset, it really knocks on to every aspect of your life. Like I think back to the girls
the saddest I've ever been.
Oh, so sad. I had shit friends. Like I used to have friends that treated me like ass, and I'd be like, and I knew in my soul, I was like, I don't deserve that. Like, but you just go and like put yourself in these horrible like relationships, or, you know, and it's like,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was also like, we had this thing about like hanging out with the cool people, or not wanting to be disliked, or not wanting to stand up for anything. You just had to keep up with the Joneses and all of that sort of thing as well. But I think absolutely it carries across to every part of your life.
100%. And I guess it all just comes back to taking control and taking responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
And do you know, like, the reason I actually wanted to get into coaching years ago was to help my 24-year-old self who was like, who thought you're around everyone and you're better than that and you shouldn't be in that position, but you don't know how to get out of it because you need support. But and that's the thing, I think, it's taking control and taking ownership and responsibility for yourself and saying like, I'm going to choose to be different and treat myself better, because like there's a lot of blame and like no one wants to take responsibility. They want to say, oh, it was this person's fault or they hurt me. But really you're putting yourself in those situations to let that
what
in.
you allow, you enable, right? Like what you allow, you enable on all aspects as well. But I think that's so, yeah, it's definitely, I speak a lot about this in my coaching when we like going into NLP techniques. You can be at cause or you can be at effect. So the cause is like, I am responsible for my own decisions. I'm responsible for what happens to me, for me, everything, versus like, poor little me, everything happens to me. Life's so hard. Everyone, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, you need to go back and remember that you can make those decisions and you can step away. But it is hard to do when you've never done that before and you're young and dumb 100%. And you just do whatever.
Yeah. And you want
to realize there's a problem.
And you just desperately want to be liked. Like I think when you're young, you're like, I just want everyone to think I'm cool and like me and blah, blah, blah. And then you get to the point when you love yourself more, you're like, hold on, I didn't deserve that. Like, you're lucky to have me as a friend, And I think that's where the like, it's, but you've got to learn to love yourself first.
100%. And I think that's obviously so cool that you've gone on to study nutrition and things too, because as we spoke about earlier, like, what nutrition when I was between 15 and 25. It was, like Barocca and Red Bulls and like literally not even eating some days. Also weren't gifted lunch breaks some days. So that was a thing. And then you've gone into help and coaching. And I love that you want to coach young Grace.
I know, but I'm like yes.
I feel like so many of my clients are like so similar to what I was like when I was their age too, just like hungry but clueless and just like really just want it,
Fully. Yeah. I think like as far as the nutrition and stuff goes as well, like within the business, like where my staff especially, like it's quite funny because I look at them and I'm like, a lot of them are quite, they go to the gym, everyone's eating healthy, blah, blah, and I'm like, you really do attract people that you like. But I do think a lot about, like, I actually did a little post the other day and I was talking about nutrition in schools because I'm making lunch boxes now for my 5-year-old, my little preppy. Yeah, and I'm like, it's so good how strict it is on, like, they want that you need to have fruit and, like, there's nothing in wrappers, you can't have too much sugar. And I was like, do you know why? Because it actually affects kids' moods, their ability to think and be productive. And I'm like, this needs to be brought in workplaces. Like, you have staff members on lunch breaks having like gnocchi or like, which is nice, but it's like, is that going to send you back to work feeling like tired or like, just different things like that where it's like, if you're shoveling like food down all day that's, full of preservatives and full of sugar or anything like that, is it going to help you feel clear and mentally like focused for the rest of the day, especially if you're an employer? Like, because it's like as an employee, you've got to be on. You've got to be on. Yeah.
It's funny. I was watching a documentary the other day. I can't remember how I got onto it. Just got in my documentary hole, probably when I was hungover on Saturday, which doesn't happen very often. But they were saying that in Japan, it's like I can't remember if it was Japan or China, one of them. Anyway, one of those countries where they have like really like huge academic requirements, but they literally hire a bunch of nutritionists to go into the schools and the kids only eat the really nutritious food. And I was like, what an amazing thing. How freaking good would it be to have that here in Australia? Because we have so high preservatives in all of our foods and everything's fast and everything's frozen and everything's like easy and quick and like there's just nothing organic available anymore. Even the things you get from the supermarket aren't organic.
Fully. I could not agree more. Like I think there's just not enough education around healthy food and what's like kind of nourishing our body. Even when I did the nutrition course, like I thought that I knew so much about health. And then, I learned how much our gut health, 90% of our serotonin is made in our gut. which I
crazy.
didn't know. I was like, so your mood is like directly affected by your microbiome. So like if you've got like if you've even been on antibiotics or which is great when you need to get better and stuff like that. But
Yep.
if we're not actively putting nutrients back in that are gonna rebalance our microbiome, you can feel depressed for months and not know why. Like it is just
Yep.
crazy. So I think, yeah, there does need to be a lot more education around that as adults for sure.
Oh, and it even goes as far then to like I've been doing a lot around gut health and stuff. I lost one of my really good friends at 35 to bowel cancer. He was absolutely brutal with it.
Sorry.
And he had all the signs and he just kind of ignored it, as we all do. And so been doing so much around gut health too, because bowel cancer is the number one cancer killer of people aged 25 to 45.
And no one knows that. I didn't know
No
that.
one knows it. And it's from unhealth. It's from not digesting things properly. It's from things sitting in your gut, turning into polyps, becoming cancers.
Oh my
So
God.
scary.
It's so scary.
Yeah. So I hope in schools education starting to change a little bit where they do talk about that sort of stuff, because they never taught about that when we were at school.
Absolutely. And I feel like I think I had mentioned to you recently how I'm like putting together an excellence in customer service blueprint. And now it's got me thinking like the reason I wanted to do that is because I think there is like so much, not political correctness, but so much that you cannot say to employees as far as like appearance and stuff like that, which of course you'd never say anything offensive, but I'm creating this blueprint to kind of use as for employers as an induction to go, this is what we'd like you to like come to work like for my staff, for example, I'll say I'd like you to dress like you're going to be invited out for dinner randomly after work, like just so you're feeling good, feeling confident. But now I'm thinking like it'd be really good to have something around food guidelines in the workplace too. But I would imagine if you said to staff, I don't want you eating that, like you could never ban things, but recommended food like to eat and nourish yourself with during your workday. Like it's something that I don't think people, they don't know enough about, or even as far as like longevity and health goes for preventing illness, like you were just saying.
Yeah, one of our friends is a dietitian. He dog and house sits for us. And hey, we were having a chat about that. And it's like, because NLP is the belief that like your mindset and what you consume actually creates all the disease and stuff in your body. And I'm like a big believer of that.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about that too. He's like, I don't necessarily think food can cure things, but I definitely think it can prevent pretty much everything. And I was like, yep, I would agree with that. And you look back and you're like, God, I spent like 10 years of my life treating my body like a trash can.
Yeah.
Come up for me later.
100%. But in saying that,
regenerate.
that's what I was going to say. I was like, thankfully we regenerate because
my poor little smoker's lungs when I was 18.
Exactly. Oh, totally.
God, I know. And I think that's really cool. It's funny too. Like I remember in my own salons and barbershops and stuff like that, obviously, where everyone was quite busy and run off their feet and, fueling throughout the day, we would always have like snacks and things that we bought in, and we were so health focused around Christmas time. I was like, why didn't we do that all year round?
Yeah.
Having like fresh fruit and things like that there for them. So I think that's amazing.
True. Yeah, that is so true.
So you are married. You and Benny been married 7 years. You have 2 daughters, Noah and Stella, and you run your business with your husband. You have a 4 and a 5-year-old. Did you just say Stella is at school? No, it's at school.
Noah, she started school this year. Yeah, she's absolutely loving it. And Stella starts next year. I actually used to do 3 days on the salon floor, and this year I've pulled back to 2 days so I can be with Noah on a Saturday. And obviously introducing the coaching too has like eventually will help me peel back and be at home even more. But it's a juggle, but I think you've got to prioritize your little kiddies and make sure that they're always feeling I'm very conscious that they're not ever feeling like they're second to my work, because if I'm honest, I think I'm working 27 hours of a 24-hour day.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so I think it's just finding that balance between letting them know like work is important and, that's how we have all these beautiful things that we have in life, but also like I'm really conscious of making sure my life is really balanced so that I can have moments of quality time with them where they have my undivided attention.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Mm.
I know that also you used to live right near your mama and now you've moved away to this beautiful new house. That would have been a really big dynamic shift too because you're so close with your mum.
Yes, mum and I are so close, but it's only 30 seconds away. So,
Perfect.
and I was actually saying to a friend the other day, it's been good because when we lived next door to each other, if she babysat the girls, that she'd always bring them home to sleep.
Oh, now that you're saying it.
I'm like, now at least they have like proper sleepovers, which like it's so funny because if Ben and I go out for dinner and have a few drinks, we obviously like would like to come home and go to bed and wake up and have a little like sleep in. Whereas before when we were living next door, we'd wake up and they'd be home.
Like, dang.
Yeah. But no, it is good and we're still very close.
I think I said this to you too ages ago that it's like not many people can do what you do. I think it was when you first started coaching. I was like, not many people can do what you do, which is have multiple businesses running all parallel to each other, employing so many people, but also on top of that, having children and maintaining a marriage. And I think you should be really, really proud of yourselves and what you guys have created because it's pretty bloody incredible.
Thank you. You don't often sit back and think about it. You just do it. And I think you've done a podcast about this before where there's no such thing as balance. It's blending. I totally agree. When you said that, I was like, yes. Like anyone who thinks you can balance things, like my biggest motto in life is you can have everything you want, you just can't have it all at once. And it's so true. You just got to kind of like ride the wave of chaos, but enjoy it too. Like I think the reason like even with Ben doing the traffic management business, like that allows him to do school pickup or drop off or be there when we need it. And people like say to us, you're so lucky, like, well, I'm like, we've worked our bums off so that we can be in this position.
That is like nails on a fucking chalkboard. People are like, you're so lucky. I'm like, you didn't see us 2 years ago sell all of our cars and sell everything that we own to be able to get ahead for this little portion of life. You don't see right now that Cam works 2 jobs. I work around the clock traveling. Like, it is not luck. It is fucking hard,
100%. 100%.
And we're doing that so that when we have a family, we can peel back a little bit and we can like just, chill a little bit more. But people never see that. It ain't luck. It's not luck.
Absolutely. And it's, I think, until you are in the position, like I can see that for you and you have that respect for other people. And like when I see someone like who's a hardworking business owner, I think, whoa, they must have done some hard work to get there. But it's worth it.
I read somewhere it was like someone says, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. I was like, and the rest. So I was like, fucking knows.
I'm still waiting. No.
When is this happening for us?
Yeah.
I think like acknowledging the blend is so important because I think so many people talk about like having balance and having blah, blah. And I was like, I was literally in the Maldives recently, like on my laptop working some days because I was like, I just really need to get this out. And Cam's like, that's cool. He's like, he'll go for a swim or go do something else. Like, stop trying to fight it and just let it happen. And also, like if you don't do things while they're hot or you don't do things quickly, then they just never get done. And then it just sits in the back of your head. And
definitely. And it's almost like for me, it's my personality. Like working is me. Like it's what I do. Like often people will be like, oh my God, you never stop. And I'm like, I am like the happiest person when I'm working, like I'm being productive. It's just, it is, but there's no balance. Like, it's
talk about that a lot, that we have 2 speeds. That's like all in or sleeping. Like there's there's nothing between that. It's like all in or sleeping. Like there's no other pace that we both move at. I think it's also really amazing though, like even though you dedicate so much time to your daughters and you spend so much time with them as well, that they also see how hardworking their parents are and what kind of life that creates. I think there's this disconnect between a lot of kids or a lot of people not seeing how much effort their parents actually did put in and that this life didn't just happen. You didn't just wake up and this was there. You didn't win it in the lottery.
Absolutely. It's so important for your kids to know that money doesn't grow on trees. Like you've got to work for it and mum and like obviously I would spend every little second with them if I could, but they know mum has to go to work in the day and that's how we get to do fun things. Like it is that balance, and they do have to learn it.
Well, your new lagoon pool and everything like that, just like they're having so much fun.
I'll be jumping in there tonight, I reckon.
Oh, I love that. It's actually freezing here today, which is not like Queensland summer, but it's been raining nonstop, but I love the tropical rain.
Yeah.
I guess just coming into the last topic here, I want to talk about a little bit of the fun stuff, because you've told me that like all of your business decisions are completely gut instinct, intuition. Money is a bit of an ick. Data's a bit of an ick. You're like the intuitive business person. And like in a business world that's obsessed with analytics and spreadsheets, that's a pretty bold stance to make. Talk to me about how intuition has, I guess, guided the business decisions, and can you give maybe some examples of where you went with your gut and it just paid off?
All right. Let me have a think. I guess with any business decision, or even if it's like literally any decision in my life, you can feel it within your body if it's a yes or if it's a no. And I think often when like it's more than the no's that I listen to, like you get all these like really epic ideas, and sometimes your body, if you're even if you're about to buy something, right? You might see something online and you're like, oh, I can't really afford that right now, but I really, really would like to get it. Or maybe you can afford it, but it's like a silly purchase. Your body will automatically be like it churns up a little bit where it's like, don't click add to cart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
right in here.
yeah, it gets you right in there where you're like, oh, then you buy it and you're like, fuck, I'm not even going to use that. Sorry, I shouldn't have swore. But you think, but you think you buy something and then you think, I'm not even going to use that. Why did I do that? That was your intuition was already saying to you, don't do it. And I think in business and in life, that's what I listen to. It's like, I get really excited about a lot of things. I have really great ideas for business or for like marketing or whatever. But then if there's any inkling that says, I feel a bit weird about this, I listen to that and I don't do it. So it's really guided by the excitedness, and then like listening to that inner guide saying, yes, it's okay to move forward, or nah, that's not a good decision.
It's funny. There's two things about that. Is like I'm always like, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. So it's like if you're not like all in passionate, feeling really good about it, it's a no. But the other thing is I find it really funny too. A lot of people sometimes are like, oh, like the best things are worth really fighting for and stuff like that. I'm like, I kind of believe sometimes like it's not even necessarily the path of least resistance, but I think that things should almost be kind of coming towards you, and you've got to action it and go through it. I don't think you should ever have to like fight to like push something to make it happen, because that's usually something that you shouldn't have either.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's got to be fun as well. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like even with like the word manifestation, like manifesting, you can't manifest your way into anything without action, and say if you're really wanting, say, to get engaged, you're thinking about that ring, blah, 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 but you're also like, you'll intentionally do little things along the way to put you into that pathway. But like, I really think with manifesting, it's like aligning with that frequency of like getting to where you want to be and putting in that energy of like living and breathing in that moment of whatever it is you're trying to attract. So yeah, I think it's a lot about, like you said, you shouldn't be pushing like crap uphill to try and get something. It should feel easy and it should flow into your life seamlessly at the same time.
And you just got to have the guts to go and actually walk through the door that opens.
Sure. I think. Yeah, and if you're pushing too hard sometimes, it's not fun anymore and it's probably not working. Like
100%. Yeah. I love that it's got to be fun. That's so true. I think if you didn't love what you do, you wouldn't do very well at it, and you would just... I think that's when I knew that I was ready to sell my salon. I was like, I don't enjoy this anymore. It doesn't make me happy. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much money I'm making. I'm not in it. I'm not invested.
So true. And it's so good to have that self-awareness, because a lot of people go, all right, now I'm just going to do it because I've got to pay my bills or do X, Y, Z. And like, even with my salons at the moment, my hairdressing is my hobby. I absolutely love making people feel amazing, connecting with my clients. But if I was doing it every day, I would hate it. I would absolutely hate it. And that's where like mentally you're like, all right, what's the next step for me? I've got purpose. I want to share knowledge. I want to make other people's lives better. So let's create that while I'm pulling back here, And it's like what you did as well. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, I think I also had there was like almost an element of like I have to take away the safety net of this to go ham into my coaching and really make that work. Like I still loved the barbershop at that stage. It was very uncomplicated, but I was definitely like, I'm keeping this here. It's almost cock blocking me from like doing other things with my coaching business or like really going all in. And I'm like, I need that pressure to go all in. So I was like, if I get rid of that, then I'll do this. And it's kind of, it works that way too. You also talk about like a lot of like health optimization, biohacking, energy, longevity, everything.
Yeah.
What does your routine look like? Because it's obviously pretty fucking chaotic.
I'm like so crazy. And like, this is the funniest thing. Like when you talk to someone who is like, like quite a busy person, I don't like the word busy, but I've got a full schedule. The amount of crap that I do in the day to like, it is so funny. I've got like an LED maxi light that I do every morning. I take like colostrum powder, Shilajit, like all these different things. And it's like, yeah, I really prioritize my health, my gut health, my like even as far as like I used to have horrible skin. And I think once you start to learn how much you can impact your outer world, outer world is such a reflection of your inner world. So I really, really try and nurture that. Any biohacking thing, I'm like obsessed. I did try mouth taping and I was like claustrophobic.
Yeah. I know that you said that sleep had been a big priority for you over the last year or so as well. I've been the same, tracking my sleep. Cam and I actually don't even really sleep in the same bedroom anymore because he's a fucking snorer and he also hated the mouth tape and he's so beady that it just comes off. So it's just like, but yeah, I think that's such an important part that we don't really consider either. And maybe that's even a thing that to look back on in your 20s. God damn, when I was finishing work like 10 p.m, up and at the gym by 6 and just like eating 12 p.m. and just insane.
Fully, sleep is such a big thing. Like if it gets to 9:30 and I'm not in bed yet, I start like freaking out. I'm like, I get in bed and I'm like, how many hours until my alarm goes off? Making sure it's at least like 7.5. It's so funny.
That's so funny. I love that too. This has been like so awesome. I've loved having you here. I think you're great. I think you're such a contrast to me too in the way that you're just like super woo-woo spiritual gutless. Whereas I'm just like, no, numbers.
Yeah. I know when you were saying at the start, there's so many coaches, I was like, again, like I would easily... Yeah, I would be like sending people to you just like we did with hairdressing around like figures and stuff like that. Yep. I think it's like, we're definitely a good little yin and yang.
I know. It's so good. I think that, you know, when you first start out in the coaching world, you kind of take anyone and everyone and you don't really necessarily choose people who are super aligned to you. You're obviously far more along in your life than what I was when I started coaching too, but like, now I'm so picky and I'm like, if I genuinely don't think that I can help you, if I'm going to bring anything to you, I will send you to the person who I think I can. And even people who go with you for ages, then go move on to one of my friends or something. And I love it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. You're doing it because it's fun as well.
Absolutely. And look, I feel like we've covered so much, Shane. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. I think you've had an awesome one from literally being like 15 to now being a mother of 2, a wife, multiple business owner, 40 freaking stuff, which makes my skin crawl a little bit, but I'm so happy for you. And I love that like workplace culture is the hill that you'll die on too.
Absolutely.
So where can everybody find you? Because there is a lot of Instagram handles and stuff here.
I know. Well, probably just at Grace Kirk on Instagram.
Yep. And you've also got gracekirk.com.au. Yeah. But there's a lot. There's Candice Grace Hair Extensions, which is absolutely thriving. Styleandgrace.hair, Sign Traffic. And you're doing lots of coaching, lots of mentoring, and I'm super proud of you and I'm so excited for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.